今回は仲間と雑談をした後におばさんたちの仲介をしに行きます。
I told you I'd watch your back long as you needed me. And unless I miss something, you're gonna need all the help you can get from here on out. Right, exactly. And you know I'm a good shot. If I get underfoot, just say so and I'll make myself scarce.
Got Inez moved into Helen's old quarters. I figure, if anyone's unlikely to be vexed by finding fossilized purpleberry crunch in their mattress, it's an Auntie's Choice trooper. You think Helen would approve of us taking on a product pusher? Yeah, suppose you're right. They'd have matched wits well enough. It was less merger and more hostile takeover. I don't have all the details, but it sounds like Spacer's Choice tried to outmaneuver Auntie Cleo through quasi-legal means and got a hell of a lot more than they bargained for. And now her new brand's been turned into an invasion force bent on conquering the entire system. Funny how life works out. Always up for a little backfence talk, though I'm guessing you don't mean Val. Can't say I know her well enough to have much in the way of an opinion. She seems capable, and shockingly, she hasn't tried to sell me anything yet. She's still got more loyalty to Auntie's Choice than they have to her, but maybe we can help her see that one day. Well, he hasn't brought the hammer down upon us yet, so I suppose that's something. If you had told me an arbiter will one day choose spirit of the law over the letter, I'd have never believed you. Tristan sure is one of a kind, ain't he? Underneath that friendly old lady facade, Marisol's a killer. Best me not forget that. Though I will say seeing Anais again seemed good for her. She's trying for peace these days, at least. Strange time to adopt pacifism, but I admire the effort. I think she'd have a hell of a time passing the directorate psychological screening. Don't much care for all her talk about disembowelment, neither. Truth be told, I don't know her all that well. Reckon she's unmoored and grabbing for anything that feels like purpose, same as the rest of us. At least that's what I would say if I was feeling charitable. Most days, I'd send her out the airlock if it came to a vote. Sure thing. I trust you've got particulars in mind? Oh yeah? What's needling you? Fair point. Guess Horizon Point didn't exactly foster a lasting fellowship, did it? All I heard about this moon called Eden ain't much lived up to the name, though. All jesting aside, what's there to tell? Spent the first year getting back up on my feet, literally. Been mostly laying low since then, maintaining my cover. Before the invasion, at least, the Earth Directorate still needed someone to watch the colony, and I had 2 working lamps. Not always. Went a couple of stretches there on low power to avoid detection from Protectorate patrols. I usually shut her down for a few cycles then. The way you're gawping at me right now makes me think I answered that question wrong. I appreciate the concern. Won't lie, had some hard years. Got caught up in a few lost causes, the particulars of which I'd rather not go into now, if it's all the same. I found you. Oh, and Val's been stalling less since I patched her acclimator. Ship doesn't smell anymore. That's about it. Only wish I'd known you were out there. I'd have come sooner. Guess that's one more thing we can thank our good pal DeVries for next time we lay lamps on her. Speaking of, we should probably get back to it. Spratwurst. Be pretty horrifying if I wasn't. I was trying to teach myself some new skills in the galley. Val got it into her hardware. I needed a hobby. I figured Spratwurst ain't an easy meal to mess up. Well, I learned about 20 ways how not to fix a worst. Like most colonies, good people being ground down from above. A lot of fancy talk from suits about streamlining and quarterly earnings while them on the line barely scrape by. Triangulum's known for churning out freighters, and shipbuilding ain't exactly known for being clean, safe work neither. Especially when corners get cut. Can't remember a time I didn't end the day all banged up, filthy, and smelling like I just crawled out of an exhaust port. You never forget your first time manually flushing a propulsion tank, do you? Funny thing was, I wasn't even an engineer back then, but I wanted to learn, so I paid attention. Too good of attention, as it turned out. I was working late one evening and overheard something I shouldn't have. Some bigwigs exchanging inside information that would have cost the corporation a pretty bit. A day later, I was being accused of corporate espionage. Didn't want to bring any heat down on anyone else, so I went on the run before the first jackboot showed up at my door. Not as worried as I was about what would happen if I was caught. Probably they would have spaced me and called it a day. I was on the run for, I don't even know how long. The days sort of bled into one another. I started losing hope of things ever changing for the better. Then, the Earth Directorate showed up. They liberated Triangulum, pulling me and the rest of the colony out from under the corporate boot. Joining up after that just made sense. She was one of the forward agents who went ahead to assess just how bad Triangulum had gotten. We met while I was in hiding, and I helped her learn the lay of the land, as it were. She was no nonsense. I thought her one of the smartest people I'd ever met. And while she could also be cutting, I felt like I only caught her edge when I deserved it. I liked her. And for some reason, she seemed to take a shine to me. But she wasn't around long. By the time I officially joined up, she'd already moved on to the next mission. Sure was. Kept hoping I might run into her during training. But now I know she was busy turning her coat here in Arcadia. My folks shuffled off the motor coil when I was little. Assembly line accident. Got passed between some distant relations for a few years. They tried their best. Weren't cruel or nothing, but life on Triangulum was tough. And they had their own families to worry about, you know? I didn't like feeling like I was adding to their burden, so I struck out on my own just as soon as I could. And well, you know how that turned out. Yeah. Thoughts crossed my mind over the years, especially when it was just me and Val. I wish I spent more time with her when I had the chance. No point missing something you're never getting back, though. That's either hope or foolishness, Commander, and I can't tell which. Even if we survive the rift, 10 years is a long time to be gone. No word. They probably figure I'm dead. Void it all. Now you got me thinking about it. How about this? We ever make it out of this system, I'll take you back to Triangulum, make the introductions myself. Deal? Oh yeah. They're gonna get a real charge out of you. I've got time.
では本社の1階へエレベーターで行って仲介を始めます。
Look who it is, the instigator of this little affair. Her mathematicalness should be along soon, unless the leader of the order's too busy crunching numbers to attend to business. There we are. Apologies for the delay. We were resolving some technical issues. Cloister's atmosphere has a tendency to... Oh, yes. Regale us with a thorough account of Cloister's atmosphere. Oh, spare no detail. This must be Auntie Cleo's trademark wit. I expected better. If I was discourteous, I apologize. So long as our mediator proves up to the task, surely we can remain civil. If not, these negotiations may prove short indeed. From where I'm positioned, I sense 3 sore points still in need of massage. Point 1, control of the archive. Point 2, oversight of production and distribution of skip cores. And point 3, management of Rift technology.
Before we go any further, I want it in writing that the Order will take full control of the archive without interference from Auntie's choice.
What? So the Order can set it fruitlessly idling for another few centuries? We would put it to far more practical use. Imagine the marketing strategies it could develop.
I would sever my own hand before giving custody of the archive over to a corporation. Humanity's ascension depends on its calculations. No, such a condition is out of the question.
I am amenable to that proposition. Less work on our part.
I'm waiting to hear an argument that would support such a ludicrous proposal.
No one said anything about paying, but, it would be a pittance compared to the future profits we might derive.
Involving money in science seems questionable, but having access to Auntie's resources would be useful for our research. Fine. Yes, I agree. Reluctantly.
Ruth, I commend you for being so receptive, and I assure you that Auntie's choice values science. Nothing bad has ever happened when science and commerce are combined.
On the subject of science, it would be most prudent for us to discuss who will be overseeing the management of skip drives, specifically the production of skip cores.
No one understands production like we do. Besides which, we have far more experience using skip drives. It was how we came to Arcadia, after all.
Where Auntie's choice manages, the Order would undoubtedly excel. Do not exclude us from consideration merely for lack of experience.
So you ramp up production? And then what? Hand skip drives out for free to whoever wants one? Preposterous, and a waste of a perfectly good monopoly.
We would be diligent about who we licensed out the skip drives to, and a monopoly over space travel is precisely what I wish to avoid. This technology should benefit all humanity.
Exactly right.
I will want to run some calculations to be sure, but I'm willing to concede on this point for now. There is still the question of who takes possession of the Protectorate's rift technology once the war is finished. Although the science is still largely theoretical, this technology could be used to not only close rifts, but create new ones. A dangerous power indeed, left in the wrong hands.
The Order would fritter away valuable time endlessly hand-wringing what to do with the technology. Auntie's choice would actually use it. For good, of course. In a gainful manner. A 50-50 split? But that's so equal. I generally consider anything less than a majority as practically a loss. But fine. If Ruth's open to it, I believe I can agree on the general terms here. And, well, we can haggle over minor quibbling details like percentages later.
I shall look forward to brokering the math with you, Cleo. There is one final matter I wish to discuss. I require some chemicals that I have been told are manufactured at a plant on Praetor, controlled by Auntie's choice.
I know which plant you're referring to, Ruth, and what comes out of it is hardly safe for general use. Out of professional curiosity, what could you possibly need with such dangerous compounds? Running a little experiment, are we? On what? Or whom?
That is, quite frankly, none of your concern.
Precisely. Partners don't withhold secrets, although they can and probably should withhold extremely dangerous chemicals if not properly notified of what they will be used for.
I will make no progress with my request without further explanation, will I? While the archive is an infinitely complex machine, an equally complex apparatus has been designed which allows one to interact with it directly. Brain-to-logic assembly, as it were. Unfortunately, this headgear exacts a rather tremendous cost on the wearer. A certain panacea is needed to survive it, but I require these chemicals to finish it. Perhaps I have not been entirely forthright. This treatment will enact a permanent change in my personality. Irreversible. But it will not cost me anything I would lament losing.
And I thought we were the ones who threw caution to the wind. Ah, well, Ruth, if worst comes to worst, I'd be happy to serve as a substitute teacher for the Order.
A generous offer, but I fear you lack a certain number of qualifications. Conscience, for example. There is a strong likelihood that it will short-circuit my limbic system, eradicating my ability to experience emotion.
Oh, so you'll be even more of a bore. Ooh, doesn't sound like you'll be much fun at our future board meetings.
Only a child uses fun as a metric of any significance. That math is confidential, but I have enough reason to believe the outcome will be favorable. I did not anticipate needing to fight for my own physical autonomy, but thank you for respecting my choice.
Oh, how it's delightful to me to see you squirm. All right. I'll get you your weird chemicals. I'll even provide you our corporate discount, practically wholesale. Best I'll say is today's outcome is workable. Barely. Our gains were not as exclusive as I had hoped they'd be.
Arriving at any arrangement even remotely equitable was statistically improbable. Be glad our mediator managed to find a middle path forward. As am I. You certainly have a way of curving probability into your favor.
Well, that'll be all for today. Don't forget to purchase the latest in Auntie's Choice products out on the value-added Esplanade, or enjoy a refreshing cocktail at the Best Choice. And do come see me personally when you have time. I have just the thing in mind for an accomplished freelancer such as yourself.
One moment. There are still the logistics of recapturing the archive to consider.
We'll, of course, provide our expert troops to support these efforts. Have your people call my people to sort details. Toodaloo!
Brusque as ever. Auntie's troopers will certainly help us manage the Protectorate forces easier, especially if supported by your help. But it would be irrational to expect you to endanger your own life without a more specific strategy in place. Fortunately, I have already given this some thought. First, we must reclaim Spyreton from the enemy. Spyreton once served as the Order's headquarters, due to its proximity to the archive. Its loss was an affront, and remains so. Unlocking and calling that lift can only be done from within the archive, however. So you will need to infiltrate the archive by alternate means, via a bridge connected to Newton. Fortunately, I am told you already dealt with the cultists there. Unfortunately, you will still need to find a way past a small rift currently blocking the bridge. Ordinarily, I do not fancy surprises, but you are proving an exception to that rule. With such a device in hand, bypassing the rift should be as rudimentary as pie. And perhaps at some later date, you will also permit our scientists to analyze this gadget at length in one of our labs, provided all goes according to plan. There is a computronical key that you will also need to locate within the archive called the Calcaduceus. The Calcaduceus grants special access to the archive. Once it is back in Order hands, we will have full control over its systems once more. Until the Order has control over the archive again, this discussion is all but moot. You know what must be done. May you achieve progress in accordance with the plan.
That was some damn fine intermediation, Commander. You might just have a future in finance. You know, after Anti and the Order trounce the Protectorate.
仲介成功したところで今回はここまでにします。